Watching Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, I got the feeling that Toho must have been thinking to themselves, oh crap, so Godzilla versus Mothra actually made some money. I guess we should come up with another one. And that's what Godzilla versus Space Godzilla feels like. It feels like an installment just the sake of having a Godzilla movie in theaters just to keep the money printers going. This is far from a bad movie, far from it. It still has Heisei's pretty consistent track record of quality, and I argue that some of the humans are some of the best in the series. However, it kind of sits it kind of has a problem like with Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, where there's a bit of a clash going on, not necessarily in terms of tone, but in terms of story. The basic gist is that a new villain has come to challenge Godzilla in the form of his doppelganger, kind of, sorta, named SpaceGodzilla. What happens when Godzilla's cells meet a black hole? Yes, really. Sensing this, the G-Force, the arm of the United Nations tasked with dealing with Godzilla, basically channels the GTA meme of "oh shit, here we go again," and they come up with another mech in the form of Megara, all the way back from the Toho film The Mysterians in 1957. Let's just get this out of the way right here and now. The design of SpaceGodzilla is awesome. It's like Godzilla, but somehow on steroids. He's got a whole bunch of like ice or stalactites or mites on his back, and it looks gnarly. It really does. In kind of a metaphor for this movie, the Space Godzilla suit was combined with the villain's suits made from Godzilla versus Biollante, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, and Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. So, in a bit of a Voltron Force style move, this villain was created with like the sloppy seconds of the other Heisei movies, just literally cobbled together with bubblegum and scotch tape. Again, the design is awesome, but it just fits for what this movie really is. Of all of these movies, the humans are probably the most fleshed out, at least in terms of Heisei. I think my favorite character of the movie has got to be Mickey, the female scientist. She is one of the more consistent main characters in the Heisei films, and she is the most consistent human who is trying to study Godzilla and try and help any way that she can outside of just killing him. There's a sense of effort in that it feels like this movie is trying to establish that these humans are not just looking at Godzilla being like, kill, kill, kill. There's more to it than that. There's one G-Force member. Godzilla killed a friend of his, and so he wants to go after him for that reason. And it's been done before in the Godzilla series in Showa, I believe. But there's an attempt made. And so for a movie that essentially felt like a rush job, there was at least effort. Where the clash comes in the form of the balance between the human stuff and the kaiju stuff. There's not enough of the latter and way more of the former. And again, not necessarily wrong with that. I think most of the characters in the movie are decent, especially Mickey. But the title of the movie is Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. And it's a little off balance. That's my point. At the end of the day, though, despite its flaws, I'm going to give this a good rating, a very high good rating. It's a bit of a step down from Mechagodzilla 2, but it's still very enjoyable. The fights are good when they are on screen. The humans are at least attempted to be made interesting, and some of them do become very intriguing. However, you kind of get the feeling that this movie was being made because Godzilla vs. Mothra was supposed to be the end, but because it did well, Toho panicked, and so they basically had to come up with something on the fly. Hell, the main mech, the Megara suit, was from a movie back in 57 when Godzilla itself was created in 1957. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. And stay tuned for Saturday, where I will be joined by, for the first time on this channel, Austin Pez Howell from the Movie Hero Network as we close out the Heisei era with the movie with the greatest title in movie history, Godzilla versus Destroyer!